Hello, dear ones. Here's Astrid. And today I'd like to share a bit more about grieving and the importance of creating a space or a practice for grieving in our lives. Because that space, that practice can really bring so many gifts for us. Some basic ones are that it gives clarity, it gives a sense of lightness, and it creates space inside of us so that we can be available for life. Grieving really allows the movement of life to come through us, because life is movement, life is change, and that also says that life is loss. For every change, for every transformation, we're constantly in the experience of losing something. And we haven't really learned this because we live in a society that denies endings, that denies death, that denies loss up to a certain extent. We don't really have collective tools or have normalized spaces or social spaces to grieve together or to support each other through grieving. We actually don't know what to do when somebody's grieving. We want them to stop crying. We don't want to grieve. We avoid the pain. We avoid many endings. We avoid conflict so that we don't have to feel pain. Actually, the very avoidance of pain is what creates suffering. So allowing ourselves to learn, to remember the technology of grieving, because I am convinced that inside the landscape of grieving that we all have, there's a technology, there's an intelligence that is related to our hearts, to our love in its highest expression. So allowing grieving to be part of our normalized practices can really give us so many gifts. And to start with the relationship with loss, little losses or bigger ones, how do we allow that to move through us? How do we relate? What is our language of grieving? We don't even know many times. What is our inner landscape for grieving? These are important things for us to know as we enter adulthood and even as we go deeper into adulthood. As parents, as leaders, as members of the community, we really need to understand this, because this is also related with our language of love, with my ability to be available for love, for mature love, for more space inside of me to feel. So in all the grieving spaces that we create, all the grieving spaces that I've been holding for years and really researching both the traditional ways of grieving and the ancestral rituals for grieving, there is so much that we can learn. And holding that space creates so much joy when we do it together. This is also something important that I've seen from people coming through the grieving process, that they thought they were going to come straight to pain and stay in pain. And actually the joy that is in the room, the lightness and the depth that we experience together as we do this journey together, it's, I would say, stronger than in most of the rooms where I've been and that I've held spaces for. When we grieve, there's a deep sense of joy and aliveness, that clarity from allowing those waters to move through us is just a wonderful gift. And so I feel so, there's a hummingbird just singing, a colibri. As I'm saying that, I feel really blessed to hold these spaces and then to remember together our languages of grieving, our languages of love, and to recover that collective ability and individual ability to access that joy and that presence for our lives, to really be present for our lives. Thank you for listening. Have a wonderful day.